really can't stand doing chapters with her, bro. I really can't. I'm trying my best to
Like
be polite.
I knew ever since last week when I said that we were doing Catelyn next that this was going to be an issue for you. But this is actually a really really good chapter because this is really where like things really start to get serious because now action is being taken now.
She's a knucklehead, bro. Like she is literally a person that thinks she's the king, but she's not the king.
She, you know, for you know what? Let's slow down for a second. Listeners, welcome back to another episode of the New Black Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, aka Prince, with the homie Darron, aka Manic Grizzly.
What's
We're
good?
already getting started on the next chapter of A Game of Thrones. Don't forget to like, subscribe. We do this every week. We're going through A Song of Ice and Fire books, chapter by chapter. We are on Catelyn 5 in A Game of Thrones. So this chapter, Darron, we were just kind of talking off air here. This is where things really start to pick up. And I give Catelyn a lot of credit for being politically savvy.
Okay.
And to your point, she's a bit of a knucklehead sometimes because whenever I want to give her credit for paying attention to what's going on around her and understanding the stakes, then she pulls some shit like this in this chapter where she does a little bit too much too fast. Like she
And you
doesn't
know
have. Go ahead.
what's crazy about that statement you just made? She did it a little bit too fast. And before that, you said that she was very diligent. She paid attention. She was very savvy, right? The first 75% of this chapter, ladies and gentlemen, she is literally walking down the road, going reminiscing about this, but also being very cautious. Even when people were coming down to actually go to the actual event for the hand, she was being wary about them, about making sure, hey, we don't want to keep too much eye contact. I'm gonna study their faces, but I don't want them to see so much of us. Even goes far as saying that, hey, there's a shack up there, like a hotel we can go to, but I think we should do father and daughter, not don't know any like no real names need to be said.
Right.
How are you that smart and that clever to even not even go to your dad's house when you mention that your dad being elderly and trying to get prepared for war or what's about to happen, just because you're being strategic and knowing the overall game plan is to not really be noticed and just go. From that point to you just like, I got a chance and then just throw all of it out the window?
Yeah.
That's a knucklehead play.
Yeah. And this is why like Catelyn frustrates a lot of people in the Game of Thrones fandom because she is smart and she is
Mm-hmm.
very savvy. She does understand, like we said, she understands the stakes. She understands what happens if she makes a wrong move, right?
Yeah.
But pretty consistently, she makes the wrong move, which is so odd, right? And like, I don't want to like I always feel wrong for like talking down on Catelyn, not talking down on Catelyn, but like
Why?
criticizing her for some of her mistakes because like we want to root for the Starks,
No,
but
she
like
don't act
this,
like a Stark, bro. She like a Tully.
but like to your point, right? She had all those precautions going to the inn at the Crossroads, and just for her to kind of then turn around and look around and be like, oh, you know what? These are all Riverlands people. My dad is, Lord Paramount of the Riverlands. And I feel like she made this mistake because she was kind of feeling herself a little bit, which I think was, I mean, not even I think, clearly was a mistake. Clearly was a mistake. I think the best thing, and we'll get into the details in a minute, but I think the best thing that she could have done was just be courteous, be just like cordial with Tyrion, because she doesn't have any evidence of anything. Because he didn't do anything, so there's no evidence to be had. I think the best thing that she could have done was what she mentioned at the beginning of the chapter, was heading north, getting past the neck, where it was safe, where she was back in her husband's kingdom, and getting back to Winterfell, where her kids were, where they need her. Because
Bro,
this move, I don't know. and again, hindsight's 2020, but I don't know what she thought she was going to accomplish by taking the queen's own brother hostage.
Just think, just play this out, bro. Let's listen to this right now. She goes to the hotel place where they ate their food, right? And then they also talk about how the fact that they were looking around and seeing that a lot of people don't recognize her. So they are doing that. And she re-emphasizes about, listen, I could make these moves, but they're not the smart move. As soon as he walks through the door, it's like a different person that switched over in her personality. It's like that did not register. We just talked about this. We just said that even the guy that came with the music, we said, yo, we're gonna play it smart, play it dumb, not answer. Like, he asked you three questions. He asked where you came from, where you're going, all these. I mean, other question was like some other attention it was, but you only asked the
Mm-hmm.
one that was so bare that would tell them very little.
Yeah.
And then you decide to, hey, you also mentioned that you haven't been here for eons. Like, it's been a long, long time since you've been here. The lady didn't even mention these sweet cakes that you freaking love. Like, it's different people here. It's a different era. Like, even the one
Mm-hmm.
gentleman you seen at the wedding, his hair's all gray now. It's not the same culture. Even the one person that came late to your dad's side, and you started calling him late lord. Like, these are people that you really don't know anymore.
Right.
But you want to take the opportunity to say, yeah, he all gonna fight for my flag, my father's flag. When the last time you seen your father? You just say he was bedbound. Like, why would, like, these decisions you told us in full layout of why it's not smart, and then you do exactly that. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, Caitlyn, I said Caitlyn, she is someone that I just personally don't really like. I don't like at all. I don't know what it is about her. It does not represent anything of being like a true Stark in my eyes at all. I really wish that she would just sometimes just play her role, and I sound so bad when I say that, but just chill. That's all I really wish that she would do. So, Prince, I want to know how you feel about this. When they walked in, right? What did your gut say?
Now, my gut was kind of with Catelyn because like when Tyrion walks in, she kind of like tries to like really hide her face because he's the only person who would like legitimately like who's seen her fairly recently and would be
True.
like, oh, and she's kind of trying to hide his face or hide her face, and in classic Tyrion fashion, he's just like, huh, Lady Stark, fancy seeing you here. And I'm just like, oh, fuck. Here we go. Fuck, here we go. Um, because she, to your point, like she had gone to great lengths to try to, excuse me, to try to hide her identity here.
Yes.
I think again the best thing that she could have done, in my opinion, is just until you had some hard evidence, just pretend like you know nothing.
And she was doing that. She was. I didn't lie though. Part of me thought that she was gonna get like basically sold on when they said don't bring the boots upstairs. I thought that the people were gonna recognize that these are higher quality material.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh shoot, that's how they found out. But no, not even that. That didn't even happen.
But you got to remember too. I mean, like you remember, like when Catelyn's looking around, like she's seeing all these different knights and men at arms from all these different like Riverlands houses, right? So, like, there's a lot of people who come to this inn. Like, this inn is pretty central to like Westeros travel, right? So, like,
So it's the
but
fork in the road. Like, explain that to the fans. Like, what exactly? Like, is this like in the middle?
yes, no, that I'm glad you brought that up because it's you do get a bit of exposition here, like in Catelyn's chapter about just like where the inn at the Crossroads is, where it's kind of near the Trident, but kind of not. Um, so it's basically like the King's Road goes from like Winterfell all the way down to King's Landing, and branches out. Think of it like Westeros's like highway system, if you will. That's much of a highway as they can have in this world. Um, to the left, if you take the King's Road to the left, you'll go to River Run, where Catelyn's from, and to Casterly Rock and the Westerlands, everything like that. To the right, you'll go to the Vale and the Erie over there in the mountains. If you keep going north, it's Winterfell. South, it'll take you straight into King's Landing, right? So it's a pretty central location. So the inn at the Crossroads is a busy, busy place. And we see that in this chapter. There's people from all over the Riverlands. And of course, because of the hands turning, you got people coming and going from King's Landing pretty consistently, right? So to your point earlier about the singer asking her where she was coming from and asking her all these questions, she decided to just say, hey, yeah, we're coming from King's Landing. Because right now, that means nothing. You could be
Oh,
one of a million people coming and going from King's Landing in the next couple of months, right?
yeah.
So, yeah, for me, I thought she was smart to play it cool at first, but again, like we said, she looked around and she saw a lot of her father's bannermen, and she was like, you know what? I got some juice here.
I got some pull. Yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yo.
some juice. I got some juice, and she was feeling herself, and I get it. She This is the mother of a child who was pushed out of the window, and then they tried to finish him off, and she thinks that he had something to do with it. So I get it. I understand how one could be impulsive about that sort of a thing, right?
Yeah.
Totally understand. However, we are not like you got to understand like what kind of system you're in. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
your husband is, you know, a great lord, warden of the north, all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
And his best friend is the king. Yeah, I understand why you think you have some juice. But they have talked about this, about having needing to have concrete evidence before they accuse the queen's own brother of something. Not even the queen's own brother, because her sister Lysa, when she wrote that letter, said the Lannisters, just as a wide-ranging thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the ruling class. A Lannister is the queen of the Seven Kingdoms right now. So, like, for you to just be like, y'all all riding with me, right? Take him into custody. It's
It's
a
a
little bit
boss move, but it's
short-sighted.
dumb. It's a
It's a
boss
boss
move.
move. It's definitely a boss move. Like again, she's got juice right now. She's got juice in the Riverlands.
Yeah.
But man, just because you got juice doesn't mean that you need to wield it.
Bro, I'm just thinking like even like the scene when they played it in the actual like show. Like you see her stand up, you see her reveal herself, and then you like just basically going around like, yeah, I know your background. Remember, you're part of my family.
Right.
This reminding like, yo, Lancers, you're not the big bad wolf here. You in my type of town.
Right.
And they all like, yeah, what's up? Why are you asking these questions? Like, what's going on? Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Take him in custody. I only can like imagine like people just like, what? Like that's a Lannister. Like you bugging. You are bugging right now. But
But
I'm
the
going
thing
to
is,
do it.
people don't like Tyrion anyway because he's a dwarf, right? So like it's
Yeah,
easy to just accuse him of something. People are already looking for an excuse to not like him for whatever reason.
I like him more
I
than
like
like.
him too, but whatever. I don't know what that says about us, but okay.
Oh, what house you from? Yeah, I can't say that out loud.
But yeah, it's it's a complicated situation, and I just think, given the stakes,
hmm
I think if it were me, I would opt maybe not to take this action right now, just because of, if you're wrong about this, the consequences are just not worth taking the shot right now. To
But
me,
you also gotta know where you are. You literally just said we're in the middle of a crossroads. Everybody's coming down to King's Landing anyway. Do you not think that an audience is not going to spread this word back? Do you not think people are not going to know? You just said you're filled with a room full of all these people, and they're all going out for the hands event. What do you think's going to happen? That's what I'm saying. Like you are like an intelligent idiot. If it makes any sense. That's what she
mm-hmm.
is. You were strategic. I think you had a chance to pull this on him with the personnel around you. Know your audience. Great job. But you're an idiot if you think that it doesn't want to get back and potentially lead to the death of your husband because they don't think it's a word from him. Because they're not gonna think you did this because in that time, like I mentioned earlier, some females play their role versus that, and they don't think anything of any decision making coming from the queen.
Right.
Well, We about to find out next chapter.
It's man, it's and listeners, if y'all have been following us for the last couple of weeks, like we have been saying for a couple of chapters that it's about to get messy. It's really about to get messy now. Like this is the first real act of aggression on either side
Yes.
publicly. I mean, we
Yes.
know the whole brand incident, everything like that, but no one can prove it. This action that Catelyn took at the end is, to Duran's point, it's going to spread. Everyone's going to find out. Look, Lady Catelyn Stark was there at the end. You know what I mean? She stood up and she started puffing her chest out and she called all the homies and
Yes.
they just took him.
And the first thing gonna go is they're gonna go right after your husband and say, "Yo, why'd you get a word?" Because no one's gonna believe that she was that.
That she just acted on her own.
And he's probably like, "Yo, what are you talking about? I got it for my wife. I figured talk to her first. So yeah, I did whatever she said do. Not knowing that's the dumbest thing you possibly can do." Ladies and gentlemen, this is why she is not my beloved character. She is literally on my top 5 of most annoying characters of all time. Isn't across
And
books worldwide. She's top
and to
5.
be fair, I think she's a great character. I just think, and I think she's a great character, and I think that she is very intelligent. I just think the 2 or 3 mistakes that she made in this war were
Life changing.
colossal mistakes. They're huge mistakes that just completely alter everything.
Yeah, you changed like your family's tree. Like everything about your family bloodline is like because of your decisions. We're not even gonna talk about what happened in the future. We're gonna talk about that when that happens.
Yeah,
But
well, we'll be back in King's Landing next week with Sansa. So
we
we'll
gotta go
we'll get
back
a
to
little bit.
back with these people. Dude, like give me like Ari or somebody else that has like comments. Like I need some of man.
It's
George, you definitely know how to make me put down a book.
it's all bad.
Just
It's all bad from here on out for the Starks, man. It's all bad. It's all
why would you
bad.
put them
But
back to back? Why would you put those two characters back to back in a book?
hey, man, we got to get all angles of the story. You
You
know what I
want your
mean?
readers pissed off. That's what you want. You want so when the event happened, we already angry, and then when things pop off more, yeah, okay.
It's well,
Hats
guys.
off to you.
I appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Like I said, next week we'll be with Sansa in King's Landing to see how this whole incident Catelyn just pulled plays out. So I, I'm excited to get into the mud with y'all in the coming weeks and months. So Darron, it's a pleasure as always, man. And I know we're
Always,
disappointed,
always.
but you know, I just
Shit goes downhill, ladies and gentlemen. Shit rolls
it's all
downhill.
bad from here. It's all bad from here.
Until
We'll
next
catch y'all
time,
next
y'all.
week.